And TR right now just happened to be here at the same time you guys are here. He's bringing it all up to code, doing all this electronic stuff, so it'll all be up to code. So that's not going to be done. So on the day, you guys will see how all that works. Basically, this bottom piece, putting the piece together is two separate jobs. The bottom of the trunk gets bolted to those 6 I-beams, and it's in the prints are downstairs. Hey Jay, could you grab those prints off the desk in there? The blueprints. When it's 24 feet across here, and so what we do is we bolt all these things onto the bottom of that thing, get it in place exactly where it's going to be, scribe on the ground, then we have to lift that up out of the way and have them come with a sod cutter and a trencher to get this 6 inches deep into the ground. And while that's going on, we got one crew doing that. There's going to be another crew taking this whole top part and putting all these branches. It's a really odd shape. It was easy to build, but hard to, it was really hard to build because it's an octagon, it's not round. There's actually 5 different bolt patterns for each one of these. Like this branch can't go here. They all have to be in a specific space. Now let's all put together. Each one of these branches is numbered 1 through 9, 9A, 9B, and then 18A and 18B. The reason being is I number them by the monkeys. And there's 20 branches, but there's only 18 monkeys. Because there's a point here, that's 18A and B, where the monkey is on 9A and B. The monkey is spanning 2 branches because he's moving through space. So it doesn't exactly work right. So anyways, the first thing we do is bolt these branches onto this top. And I want to see if we can do it. There's 2 different ways to do it. Usually this turntable sits on one of these rings down here, and so everyone can do this on the ground. Everyone just starts bolting all these things on here, and then make sure all the bolts are tight. And the next thing we do is we put these top struts on there, and that has to be done from an 8-foot ladder. This can be on the ground. And then put all those struts on, and then we put these outside struts on. That's about a 2.5 hour job. And then we just use an impact gun to rattle them all down, make sure they're all tight. And then the next thing we do is we put all these cables on.
Are those new since Burning Man?
What?
Are the cables new since Burning Man?
No, those were there. And they're all on turnbuckles, but it's only, and we go around and with the tape measure, and we just spin the whole thing around, and generally it's about 80 inches. It's only an inch high, the highest to the lowest. That's good enough for me. Because you could spend so much time and energy trying to it gets worse and worse and worse. So then, these aren't moused right now. Does anyone know what moused means? Anyone know what rigging is? Anyone think about rigging? Okay,
heard the word before.
All of these turnbuckles, there's nothing keeping them from coming loose. But what you do is you run baling wire through the here to here, so it can only twist a quarter turn anyway. Once it's done, we get exactly what we want.
It doesn't just work its way loose?
Exactly, and to do the same thing, and I haven't done it with these shackles either because they're coming on. For a permanent installation, though, each one of these has to have baling wire go through it. So that's kind of a tedious process. Yeah. Do that, and then on the top, do all of those shackles too. So then once we get it, we just spin it around a couple times, and really we just want them all to be about the same tension. You know?
Well, they're not even that high tension.
They're not high tension at all. When it gets spinning, that gets it perfectly nice and round when it's spinning and everything. So that's the next step we do. Then we take that turntable with all with all the branches on it, and then we pick it up with a gray doll and we put it on this top section here with the motor. And then what we do, then we can start putting all the monkeys on. And all the monkeys are just held on. These are just basically they're 1.5 inch pipe clamps, or scaffolding clamps. And each one of these has a 1-inch square tube going through it. And then at this length here, we've epoxied in a 5/8 inch threaded rod. That threaded rod terminates at this clamp. And then once we got it finally exactly tweaked for the angle we wanted, we welded it on there. So that's welded on there. And so these are adjusted for the 15/16 soccer bench, and it's pretty much a 2-person job. It's me, it's maybe one person holding it, moving it, one person tightening it, and me standing out there going up, down, left, right until they're really exactly in the right position. And then the snakes, Jay and I just photographed all of the monkeys and all of the snake positions yesterday. The snake positions are rough right now. I mean, I just got to go and want to get everything figured out. And I'm making a bunch of new snakes for all the ones that are really cracked up and messed up and broken. I'm going to replace several of them. But I was trying to figure out a way to Velcro them on there, but I couldn't figure a way to keep the Velcro to stick to the snakes. So I've just got baling wire holding them on. And I'm going to paint the baling wire, and that's, unless anyone else has got any bright ideas, that's kind of what works for me. Yeah, it's easy.
What are those made out of?
These are made out of they're made out of latex, latex skin, and flexible foam rubber inside.
So it's really light. If one comes flying off,
there's
it's
one
not
over
going to
there.
hurt. It won't hurt anybody if it comes flying off. And that's all I care about.
It hurts someone who's litigious, I'm sure. One of the apples flew off. One of the apples flew off when the thing was down in San Jose, or in LA, and someone just caught it. Like, oh, you get it, that's your reward. You know? Like a home run or something. You know? But what I'm doing is I'm making more, and the apples, we hot glued them in place. What I've also done is drilled little holes, and when it's down, I want to go through them all. Drill little holes through the hand into the apple and use those little price tag guns, you know, those little plastic T thingies to hold them just in case they come loose from the glue. So that's basically how the whole top goes together. Then we lit this. The strobe lights right now, because this piece is too tall to fit under the crane. This center ring here is going to have all the strobe lights and all of the electronics in that. So that's going to be sitting between these two rings here. It's going to be sitting from here to here, and this thing will raise up 2 feet. And
Just one of those rings goes in?
Just one of, yeah. Hello? The ring was made totally last minute, just before Burning Man, and the guy did it over at his shop. He couldn't do it where I was. It's fucked. It's wrong. The size is all wrong. None of the struts match up, so it's a bonus now. But what we're using it for is to transport and to the turntable will stay on that. Transport the turntable and to do the build. So it's not for naught. It's just
So
very expensive platform.
The fly?
Yeah, it's gonna be the same height. It's 7'1" for that ring. Another 7'1", so that's 14.2. Plus that is gonna make it 16.2 to here.
Right.
And the bottom of the monkeys, the lowest monkey would be like this guy here, is going to be at 10'6" from the ground. That's the lowest spot.
Okay, so this thing's like what, 8 feet high?
This thing's 8 feet high, yeah. So it's going to be 2 feet higher. And so what we have, and we're so excited about getting this. It works awesome. We've got this electronic eye sensor that goes up here. And it's like a tachometer. It sits right here, and every single one of these has a little reflective tape on it, and that's what sends the signal to the strobe to flash. Every time a branch goes by, it's like a giant distributor cap. But how it works is when you're beating on the drums for the first 30 seconds, all you're doing is just telling the thing to go. And every time you beat the drum, the strobes are going to flash. But it's not syncing it up. But once it gets up to after 30 seconds, it gets up to full speed, which is 24 RPMs, which is only about 9 or 10 frames a second, which is about the slowest you can possibly go to fix the brain. We've had major wind resistance problems in this thing. So anyways, turns out that it's not just the red that this reads, it reads strobe lights. So it was getting feedback. We're going, what the fuck's going on? It's not working. It was getting feedback. It was sending a signal back to the strobe every time it strobed. So this is problematic. We're gonna try some other things with that, but we may just end up going back to the old standby, which is same exact thing I used for Sisyphish, my very first piece. This is just an alarm magnetic sensor, like it's on the bottom of most doors, and that just sits up here. And you'll see every single one of these branches has a little magnet on it. Some of them more than others. Right there. And because of these, imperfection of the piece and not made exactly perfect, you sometimes have to add a couple magnets to take them off. And that's problematic if you're watching the piece and it's missing. Chances are we're missing a magnet, and so that's something that could potentially happen if we don't fix the sensor. And if anyone else has any other kind of ideas about proximity,
having a little arm with like a spring-loaded flag thing on it. Each time one of these poles comes around, it just.
That's how I did my first piece, and it didn't work that well. And we may have. What I think we're going to do is we're going to have all three of them. We're going to have a magnetic one. We're going to have and we're going to have you just be able to switch between
redundant.
Switch between them. to answer your question, because the distance is so great, I haven't found a leaf switch that could handle the variance. But if any of you guys have any, I'm willing. I mean, I'm open to any other clever ideas. So it rides on. It's a 96 tube sprocket. That's a 5 horsepower. No, that's a 10 horsepower. It's a 10 horsepower, 3-phase 240 motor, and the controller's right here. And that controller, you can adjust. You shouldn't have to mess with that at all. It's all programmed already to. When you start this thing, it's told to wait for 30 seconds before it starts going. The reason being, if the controller tells it to start and then it stops, it doesn't. When it just knows it stopped. It doesn't know that it's coasting. So when it tries to start again and it's coasting, it stops it from a dead stop, and the chain has jumped off of the sprocket. It's a big bang, and it could break, because it's stopping it so abruptly. It could launch monkeys and stuff, or break branches, or anything like that. I have a full set of replacement wheels, but these are super heavy duty. Folsom Series 4 casters, 6-inch, super hard drummer polyurethane wheels. Those are the idlers along the outside.
Go over that for the logic one more time.
What?
When you first turn this on, it waits 30 seconds.
Waits 30 seconds
powers
to
the motor.
yes. If you just go into manual, and this is just to test it here, stop and go manual.
Right.
And it's not plugged in right now, but I guess we can. Yes, for several reasons. Anyways, but on manual, tell it to go, and then it'll go into brake for 30 seconds, and then it'll stop it, and then it'll start. Oh, that's why, because if you turn it off and then someone else just turned it back on, that's what it was.
Okay.
Then it would do that thing.
Right, yeah.
It'll go again as
Okay,
it's still
so
spinning.
once the controller's mounted, there's basically
Yes,
just power wires and...
Yeah, this is if there's a line fault, if there's not enough power, it'll just stop. But I don't believe, and that's why I wish JoJo was here. I don't believe that anyone's going to ever need to get into this.
Okay. Does it display any error
Yes,
messages?
yeah, it does. Well, yes, it does. Again, the errors, it displays several different error messages, and I have the book. I assume that's the book for
The controller's down at the ground level, or is it?
No, it's going to be what I'm trying to do. What I was just talking to TR about is I would like to, for aesthetics. For code issues, it's not quite to code, but for aesthetic issues, I want to get all this control shit on that ring, because on that ring goes the strobe lights, but I can fit all the electronics, all these other control panels between it, and then see those leaves there? All those leaves bolt around the outside of that ring. And those work for two things, for visually, so you don't see all the shit in there, but also they're not very comfortable to climb on either. It's sort of
your version of
visual part.
Razor
This
Exactly.
will be in some kind of waterproof enclosure.
That's going to be in, see that gray box right there? Right. It's going to be in that gray box right there, and I want that to be mounted inside that ring. It may be inside that ring, or it may be way the hell up here.
Right.
Because another problem we were having with the electronics is that when the signal for the monkey vision, it would stutter and do all these weird things, and the motor is sending all this RF. But I think, see, we didn't have them all in boxes, so we may not have that problem.
Right, we should have been.
So,
Yeah.
is there a way to remote the display so that we can see it without getting on a ladder and opening the box in case there's a problem?
I don't know.
I don't even know if it's useful to do that, but it just seems to me that if this thing could fail and it tells you what's wrong, it'd be nice to know it. And then the other...
My guess is yes.
The other question I have is, have the new electronics actually been built and tested yet? Since we're about 3 weeks away.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, they're all right here. This is the new. This is the new electronics right here. That's replacing all of that. Yeah. And he's got a little thing that's going to tell you. It's going to tell you. This will tell you the RPMs. It'll tell you the hertz, and it'll tell you the frames per
It's
second.
running off a basic stamp, or?
No, he custom made them.
And where will this
Joe
thing be?
custom makes all this stuff.
Where will that be?
This will be. This will be in.
Ring?
That other, it'll be in that ring, in that, see that gray box over there? We'll go down there next. I think, is there any questions up here?
Well, yeah, there again, if this displays things, is there a way for us to see the display down on the ground so we can
That's a good
monitor
question.
performance?
That's a good question. Maybe we'll talk about some remote displays.
Yeah, but it's more fun if you have to climb up 6.
What's that? Worst comes to worst, Peter?
sense.
There might be a way to get one of those
How are we gonna look
$1,500
macho if we just have to
video
walk over the
camera
panel? We
things,
have
a
to climb
radio
up there,
jack,
but look at the panel.
point a camera at the display in the box, and then run a wire down
That's
the
a great
ground.
idea because you know what JoJo's figured out? Because we got Wi-Fi, it has a mini map controlling
whatever,
the
but
sounds.
the point is-
so we can actually control it from, maybe you just go in there with your laptop and you can diagnose it from your laptop.
something. Or just, you know,
Using
even a video camera
Wi-Fi.
with a little TV display doesn't need a laptop or computer or anything, and it's an easy way to remote if this doesn't let you do it.
Okay.
So what are we probably going to touch here? Are we touching these controls?
My guess is you guys probably aren't going to be messing with this too much at all. It should all be, by then, be all working. What you're going to be touching is the main disconnect, turning the main disconnect on and off. And I'm hoping, do you guys know is there going to be someone there every night, or what's
Yeah, the plan is to have docents there during all operating hours.
Okay.
There won't necessarily be monkey wrenches there. So the docents will need to know how to turn it on and off.
Okay.
But then anything that goes wrong, if it's sort of a hard down, they call the wrenches right away.
Okay.
If it's sort of a, can you fix this later, can both turn off, I'll make a list on a clipboard, and at the end of the day, the wrench will fix it all.
Okay. So what TR is
I think a lot of the wrenches are also just planning on being on site during their
Yeah,
shift.
some of us will be just there for a shift, but others will just be on call.
Okay. So I imagine what's going to go wrong. Some snakes may fall off, you know, and Jay photographs every single snake position, you know, or they may. But we're trying to make it as secure and as like possible as can. Maybe even try to, maybe even drill some holes and stick something through them just to keep them in place, you know, so we don't have that issue. The only catastrophic thing could happen. The chain could break. I have a replacement chain. If that happens, I'll be down there with it. I'll be down there with the chain.
Yeah, you're the monkey wrench
But if the
ambassador
chain
for it.
comes off, shut the whole fucking thing down. You know?
No user replaceable parts in here.
If any of these, for whatever weird reason, treads come off of them, but these are made to be, I mean, they're super industrial, but I'm going to have a whole other set of those down there, and that's something you guys could replace.
Right.
You just take these 4 bolts out here, but you're going to have to do it from the inside,
Right.
okay? There's just four bolts here. Because there's going to be a big, this other thing, we're putting a big toroid around this that's made like with expanded metal, and it's another, visually so you don't see all the workings, but also so you don't climb on it. Because if anyone's ever up here, and this thing starts, you're dead. If someone starts climbing on that, it's a really, 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 really bad idea. It's a really, could be really bad. If anyone ever sees anyone climbing on it, turn it off. And that's what TR is right now, is putting the main disconnect there.
The red button.
To replace one of these?
You know what? Yeah, you may need to jack it up a little bit, so I'll get a little bottle jack and put it there to jack
So
it up.
did Peeker talk to you about making a list of all the tools we need on site, all the spares we need on site, and she started that process with you?
She didn't, no.
So one thing we need to figure out sooner probably rather than later is we want to just have a list of all the spares that we're going to have, and a list of all the tools we need. And that way we can make sure we have enough space to have secure storage for it all there, and that we're not missing the key wrench size or weird wire stripper or whatever crazy thing we need on day 2.
Okay, so what's happening over here is, for code issues, these strobe lights are just, they're cheap ass little disco strobes that get fucked up fairly regularly. And for code, I really need this to be in outdoor enclosures. Unfortunately, they don't make outdoor strobes, but they do make these outdoor part in here that I need to take apart and put these strobes into. And unfortunately, these are like 2 inches longer than those. So we have to take these things all apart and to fit them in there. And if anyone wants to stick around to do that, I could use some help doing that today. And then those will be around the ring. So we'll have like a strobe light and one of those panels, strobe light panels. So all the electronics and strobe lights will be all in that same area. I'll keep you sure. Let's go down and talk about this. One of the monkey masks, and that's a strain relief and for the wiring. And actually, we're trying to use electrical, flexible conduit, but it doesn't have any strength to it. It'll just pull apart. So we got smart, and I forget who had the idea. I think it was
Rope light?
I think it was. It looks like rope light, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it might have been scary. But what we did is we're using air hose, high pressure air hose, and it's 1/4-inch air hose. So we run the cable through that, and it's really
That's
super
tough
tough.
stuff.
I may put aircraft cable just for security purposes, so they don't get stuck. Someone can still cut it with a knife, but you can't pull them off. But anyway, so there's going to be 10 of those, and there's going to be 5 spares. And my idea is, see, it's got that little box on it there. It's got a 1/4-inch photo plug on both sides, so that you just daisy chain them all together. So if one of them goes bad, rather than trying to diagnose it and everything, take it out, just put another one in, plug it in, and
Take
then
the whole arm off?
the whole arm. The arm, I'll show you. Let's go downstairs.
Okay.
There, and then.
And that's where the ring goes.
So that'll be below all the...
Oh, I'm sorry, at the top of that ring.
Yeah.
So you guys can get up to the stuff. And I think what we do is probably have, what that would be a good idea, have a couple planks in here. Just put a couple planks in, stand on the planks, and you can get right to it. Just have them standing by and behind you. All the strobe lights are tearing apart. It's such a pain in the ass, just too long. So these kind of clamps are what hold. You can see right there. That holds the lamp in place. And these guys are held on by these are theatrical. If anyone doesn't know, I'm a stagehand by trade. So pretty much everything that I've done here is all stage rigging, stage. I mean, it's all rigging and stuff like that. So one of these goes at the bottom here, and one of these goes at the top, and this is a standoff to hold that lead. It's got like it'll be bolted like that, and then held off by that. So if you guys may have to get in there and take one to get to something. Take one of these off, and make your life a lot easier to get in and out of there if you have to get in at that point. And that's that'll be almost a doorway for you to get in and out if you can fit through here.
And so the leads will be on this level.
Yes.
And all the strobes and everything will be on the inside of this level.
Exactly.
So, but then will there be metal below it so somebody can't go inside?
I think I'm going to put the metal here.
Okay.
So people still can get inside there. I was thinking of putting all along the inside, expanded metal all along the inside, and like a little gate. So it's
Anything that's going to keep everybody out is going to make it tough for us.
You just need to have the secret area to stick the wrench to know how to get in.
I'm thinking maybe just have locks on all the boxes. Just put padlocks on all the boxes.
Yeah, there's only so much.
At some point, you just have to say that's much like
Yeah, the only way you can get into this when we're closed is from inside the bottom. So what if on the bottom here you just wrap something around it when you're closed, like a bunch of metal mood fins, and then just put a padlock on it. Then you can't get inside to climb up. In the morning you just take it off. And it's more shit to do, and you got to figure out a place to put it during the day. But it'd be one way to keep people out of it.
Electrified. Yeah, there you go. That's the easiest.
25,000 to keep anybody.
That's the best answer.
At least some warning signs that say high voltage.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think is 40-degree security lights, one aiming down this way, one aiming down that way. And they're on a timer from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Perfect.
So people come in after that, boom, lights everything up. So. Monkey vision tubing, okay? And what we've done in here is basically we've got these 3D glasses. They're these shitload of I found these for really, really cheap. These are for video games, and what they are is basically it's just something you plug into your game, and they're little shutter lenses. Like one goes, they alternate black, dark and light, as for 3D, just keeps switching back and forth. What we did was we made a custom electronics that makes them naturally, because these are naturally open. We had to make them naturally dark, and we synced it to the strobe signal. So every time the strobe signal comes to that, it goes open for just a fraction of a second. Unfortunately, they're not dark enough during the daytime. They don't go dark enough. So what we've done is we've taken 2 lenses, and so each one of these things, we take them apart, and we pull both lenses out, and we put them 90 degrees to each other, and so they're polarized. So then when they get the signal, they go really dark. So each one of these monkey masks gets 2 pairs of these. So this one goes right in here like this. And this is just a butyl. It's this really sticky clear stuff. Get that in place, clunk, right like that, and then we hot glue the shit out of all that, because that's what happened at Burning Man. This is super thin, and it broke there, and then they stopped working. So we're hot gluing that, and then we're coming in here with that 22 gauge like speaker wire, and then we're making the connections. And they're not polarized. It doesn't matter. It gets an AC signal, so there's not like a hot and a negative and positive lead, so it doesn't matter. But all of your blue wires and green wires all go together, and then all the black wires go together. And so inside here, we solder that onto this 22 gauge wire in here, and then just put as much hot glue as we possibly can in there, and then.
So how many extras of these will we
We have, I think there's 6 extra ones.
Wow.
So we're having 10 that are going to be there. Was only 6 for Burning Man, but I made 10. So every other strut, there's going to be one of them. And these are hanging down, and there's none of those pipes. Let's go look at the pipe. Oh, this is what goes in the. So we run the wire through the pipe to this. So it's got a 1/4-inch phono jack on both sides. So we're just daisy chaining the signal to all of them. So all you have to do is unplug, unclamp it, and take the whole unit down. Take it back to the top, then you can diagnose it. And Scary's done this. Have any of you other guys? You got to use a hot heat gun to get these lenses out. And I have a shitload more of these lenses. We still have to take a bunch of more of those apart to have them standing by. Okay. Do that, and then what we do is put them all in there, and then we get these rubber gaskets, and then use more of that butyl and just put it right over there. So it protects the wiring, and it protects your face from the glass. And those are hanging on those arms. Let's go outside. You can hang it like that. This is your little plug things there. And right here, it gets one of these pipe clamps that's bolted onto here. Then that whole thing just clamps into place. And it's weighted, so it's a little bit heavy on the arbor side. So it's not going to be coming down. It's a little bit heavy, something like that.
Where does it clamp?
And it sits at about 7.6 up. So you got to grab it, and I'm going to have little chains coming down for kids, so you can grab it and look through it. And then as soon as you let go of it, it just goes back up out of the way. So it's not going to be hitting people in the head, shit like that.
Where does it clamp again? About 7 feet up?
on this row?
It clamps at above.
Here.
It's going to clamp at that ring. And that ring will be 2 feet tall.
That one way up there?
That top ring.
Ah.
Okay.
And is that, we can take those off from outside, we don't need to get inside the cage?
You can do it from outside, yeah. You absolutely can do it from the outside with a ladder.
And is that a 2-person job?
A person to hold the ladder.
Yeah, but you don't need 2 people up there, one to hold the thing and one to push. Do you need 2 ladders?
It could be, Jay did, it's a 1-person job, huh? Taking them on and off the trunk. Taking it on and off the trunk, it's a 1-person job, huh?
Yep.
I got somebody to hand it down to. It's made out of an AB plastic that I poured foam into. And some of them, the foam didn't fill it all the way up, so there's just like these hollow little things. So they'll snap really easily. I got tons of digits and stuff, but up here. Where? But hot glue holds the monkey frog great. The best thing to do is like where the fur cut bits are separating, glue the 2 parts together, because that's where you glue it to the face, it's going to want to come off it. Glue the fur to itself. But some of these ears still need to be fixed. But up here I've got all kinds of little monkey parts. Legs, a bunch of extra hands and stuff. It's easy just to cut one of these fingers off, and take a toothpick, like cut a finger off, like if there's a broken one, like this one's broken here, you can take them, there's two different hands, the right and left hand, and you can like cut another pinky off of another one, jam a toothpick in there, and then you use Gorilla Glue. Are you guys familiar with Gorilla Glue? You have to wet it. Gorilla Glue, you have to wet it. So you put it on there, you spray with water, put the Gorilla Glue on there, hold it, put it on there, and then tape it up like with some blue tape. And it sets in about 2 minutes. And then if the whole foot's gone, you can cut the whole thing off. We've got extra feet. And then the same thing, full foot, or if God forbid a leg falls off or something, just contact me. But you can fix it. You can go back up there and just skewer the shit out of it. But what needs to happen is we need to pull a fur back, and we need to put more fiberglass around, because where these go onto the crotches of the monkeys, they're glued on, and then we take a strip of fiberglass and fiberglass it on with epoxy resin. That's like, if you can look down here, see how the hand is held on there? It's glued on. Then we also put a thing of fiberglass around it to hold it in place.
That's probably what really holds it.
So there's a monkey leg. Lamb,
It's
monkey
twisted.
chops.
It looks so long.
And just put those on so it kept from coming off of the front. But feet are super fragile. Until we get it in place, I want to keep on this